Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I see people are jumping into the chat now. Um, well, I wanted to touch upon this shit coin. Have you seen Trump issuing coins just before the inauguration? And basically, he's taking advantage of his huge platform and people, gullible people that are going to jump into this project. So basically, if you look into this, is you have 80% of the supply of those coins that belongs to Trump. So you are going to buy into money. It's a money creation. So he creates money, and you are going to buy into money that actually 80% is owned by Trump. So that's a scam. That's a scam, and it's a huge corruption. I mean, it's just unthinkable if you well, Trump is a president, and he's actually making billions of dollars out of gullible people. So I would say when it comes to corruption, it might get worse actually under the Trump administration, but just because of the profile of the people that are inside his team. You have around 13 billionaires into his team. Vivek is a billionaire. You have Elon Musk, who's the richest man on earth. And they say that they want to reform the government. They want to do Doge, just clean up the whole government because it's inefficient. And I think people need to be extremely careful because a lot of those liberals that came into power, what they did was ultimately to privatize whatever was public and of value. Was whatever makes money, it becomes privatized, and whatever doesn't, it's for average Joe's pocket to pay into this. So now you have, I think it's really shocking, and I'm actually surprised that not many people are actually talking about what is happening with these memes coins. We are talking about billions and billions of dollars, probably around $10 billion. With the valuation right now, it's moving all the time, but I think that the coin now is at around $70. So he went from $0 to $70. And actually, you have Trump that is using his platform to promote this, and that's basically a scam. Not only it's a scam, but he's actually using his platform. Even if one day this becomes a viable coin that actually is widespread and people start using it, and actually has his position as a president, he actually can impose this coin somehow. You are, whenever he's facing with big corporation, he has some leverage there to make it, something like a mainstream coin, maybe in the top 100 coins. We don't know. So he's abusing his position to make this happen and become even more powerful and more richer than he was. So he's done so far. A lot of people don't realize, but he's created through social. This is a media platform where he's made billions of dollars. If you look at the valuation right now, it's billions of dollars. Now he's making money on those meme coins. And you even have, I just got the news, but even Melania Trump issued her own coin too. So you have the whole family that is making billions and billions of dollars. And nobody's talking about this. Well, you have, of course, the pro-Biden are talking about this. But I would say this is why it gets me a little bit upset. Trump is doing some good things here and there, a few good things. Especially as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking at Gaza is getting, at least the massacre is stopping in Gaza. That's a good thing. But I think this is, if you look at the long-term plan is still the same. It's just, I think Trump doesn't want to overstretch or being overstretched, so he wants to stop in Ukraine, wants to stop in Gaza, and somehow he wants to switch towards China, but he's going to be as aggressive. So now about this whole corruption, we all know in the US, it's a corrupt system. You have someone like Nancy Pelosi. She had been doing insider trading. I mean, openly. Her husband is actually, he has I think is a, trading firm, and as a couple, they are worth probably around $200 million, but they always outperform the market because of the insider trading that Nancy Pelosi she's bringing, because she makes the laws, and she before they announce, well, they take advantage of this insider trading to take some positions in the market. So so then when you look at Trump, his strategy is surrounded by people in the crypto industry. So there's Peter Thiel, the ex-PayPal mafia, and you have all people that are pro cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin. So they are taking probably they will announce, there's a very high probability, Polymarket says that the probability of having Bitcoin as a US national reserve currency in this year, it's at 65%. And we all know Polymarket is actually probably the most accurate format, because it's a betting platform that take an aggregate on all the betting websites, and usually the money is more closer than those poll stations that are biased. And we saw this in the elections. You had to follow Polymarket just to really know what was the probability, the most accurate probability. So now you have Trump and all his team that are pushing for crypto market. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest wealth transfer in US history, where they are taking advantage of making the laws in their favor to promote crypto market. And probably their crypto currency of choice. So, well, imagine if there are more. I think Trump is more like into Solana, the system of Solana, and he's promoting that because he's investing into that. So here we're not talking about the millions of dollars that Nancy Pelosi was making. We are talking about in the billions. Now you have Elon Musk into the equation. That is going to be the leverage he can bring into this is going to be much more important. So I think when it comes to internal politics, there's going to be a massive wealth transfer, because billionaires are in charge. You used to have a multimillionaire in charge with the Biden administration. Don't get me wrong, as corrupt. And here you have even richer people that actually are much closer to the business culture, that are much more aggressive, and there's going to be a big steal, because they're not into this for the sake of America. No, well, that's the slogan, make America great again. That's a slogan. But ultimately, billionaires like them, they are globalists. They're not attached to a country. They have houses all around the world, and they can move out whenever they want. So it's going to be a big looting. By the way, I'm checking your question answers. I'll try to jump into this, randomly. So I wanted to touch upon this, and I would say what people need to be really careful, and especially the pro-Trump side, is really like not to be in this cut. I think the biggest danger is it's not because you're pro-Trump that you should be, completely following blindly whatever Trump does, because it doesn't make you, criticizing Trump doesn't make you anti-Trump. On the contrary, if you really love your country, you should be criticizing and holding accountable whatever leader you choose. So the pro-Trump need to be, they need to expose that, just to say, well, I love you, well, whatever, how much they like the Donald Trump. But that is something that you shouldn't do. And the problem is that it has been always like this in the US, but in the collective West in general, in those self-proclaimed democracy, there's been the lack of accountability. You give a blank check and they do whatever they want. Now Trump is in power, but it's going to be like free lunch. Open bar. And the looting has started. The inauguration is today. The last 3 days, Trump has made billions of dollars. Do you see the news out there? No, there's nothing. And I would say that you even have those people, and maybe it's cultural, but being rich extremely rich. It's glorious. When you've been glorifying those billionaires, then you choose Trump, and you say, well, he make billions. That's good, but he made billions out of you. That's a wealth transfer. When you have average Joe investing to this, it's a Ponzi scheme. It works as long as people keep on investing and actually trading into this. But ultimately, if this disappears, that's all the money, the US dollar you put into this is worth nothing. And ultimately, and also a sitting president should not be making money. That's not what he's meant to be, to do. So it's important to follow up this very, very closely. And I think this is going to be only worse and worse. When it comes to cryptocurrency, of course, crypto, the blockchain, all those new technologies, this is something that actually are going to be part of our lives. But in this case, because there's enough regulation, and actually those guys, they want to deregulate the market, but because there's not much deregulation, regulation, they are going to take advantage, and they're going to get much richer. And what happens is that whatever makes the regulation, they actually do the regulation. They control the SEC, and it's not like a stock, when it comes to cryptocurrency, if you advocate for currency, and you actually you could basically tell like fake news, but just to pump the price of the crypto, there's not the same the regulation that you have for stocks. So stocks, it's about really like a transparency of your balance sheets. There's lots of regulation, but that's on purpose, because otherwise, who would invest into the stock market? Now the problem is that they are going to write the regulation, and they are going to control the game, and they have the money too. Because guess what? Who's the largest investor into Bitcoin is BlackRock. BlackRock is part of the team. So now I think this is a probability of having Bitcoin as an official currency, reserve currency. They might actually try to pump it, and I would say there's a probability that Bitcoin keeps on going higher and higher, and they are what we call the smart money, because they do the rules of the game. They are going to control the game, and actually they are going to benefit the most out of this. Somebody's asking me, are you shadow banned? Yes, I am shadow banned. Shadow banned in many places. I'm actually shadow banned right now on Twitter. And that started because of Gaza, and when I started criticizing Elon Musk. So you see, Elon Musk, we need to be extremely careful. He's not going to is not going to be fair to us when it comes to freedom of speech. So you cannot antagonizing. That's the worst thing you can do, is really like antagonize Elon Musk, his team, also Trump. So I would say you have to have a different discourse when you are on YouTube, or different channels have different discourse. You need to know your limitations. But it's a no way. If you go against Elon Musk on X, they'll kill your channel. Just to give you just some figures, I used to have around 3 to 4 million views on Twitter per day, and now I'm down to 100,000. So, but it's okay. I still have a voice, but now it's getting more limited. And also, when it comes to YouTube, my channel is demonetized. That means that the algorithm doesn't work in my favor, and I cannot, if I wanted to make money out of advertising or so on, that's how YouTubers make their money, I wouldn't be able. The good thing is that I'm not living out of this. I'm doing this as a hobby, and kind of I take this as a responsibility, and because people are following me, and they're supporting me in a sense, mentally. They say they'd like to hear more, and I think as long as I can bring something into the discussion, that's positive. So now I want to switch. It's going to be a short one, but I want to switch into the TikTok, this TikTok ban. So let's give some figures. You have now 170 million people, users of TikTok, that are being banned. So basically, half of the US population overnight did not be going to be able to use TikTok. Some of the reason, I mean, they imply that they say that this is because it's controlled by China, and because China has access to data of US users. Well, guess what? I'm in China. I cannot use TikTok. Yes, let me repeat. I am in China and I cannot use TikTok. TikTok is the company is ByteDance, and they have different platform. But for the Western world, it's TikTok, and we do not have access to TikTok in China because they don't comply to Chinese laws, and it's aimed at Western market. So China, because the service is not in China, China doesn't have access to those users' data. Because then this is what the US wants. The US, who's that in the US? That's big tech, probably whoever wants to put their hands into this and also control the narrative. So what they want to do is basically, my impression is that with Trump, what they're doing is probably they're putting TikTok in a distressed position when it comes to exposure outside. Distress in the sense that if you don't have those users and you cannot operate, your value goes down. And when your value goes down, what do? You buy a distressed asset at much cheaper price, much cheaper than if TikTok was running. Then you ban it, and then you might have like Elon Musk, or actually different structures, but the same people that are surrounding Trump that are going to buy TikTok at a very cheap price. And and it's very common. You have I mean, people like Joe Soros. That's what he does. He buy distressed assets. Actually, he influence policies. So some assets go down because of the policies and because of the influence he has, and then he buys them as distressed assets. That's what they did in climate change, by the way. Climate change, you had people in the oil industry pushing for renewable energy and actually saying, well, coal, oil, it's going to be destroyed. So you had some stocks related to the coal and oil industry going down and in crashing because they said that they are going to ban this. Now you have the same oil company doing the propaganda, coming back and actually buying those distressed assets. So I think that's the plan with TikTok. And so now what is interesting is that Western users that are in TikTok are actually using Chinese platform called Xiaohongshu. Xiaohongshu, there's different definitions. The small red book or the red notes. I would say the closest probably the small red book. And actually, it's not exactly the replica of TikTok. It's more like, I would say, some kind of Instagram. That would be the equivalent of Instagram. So that's interesting now that you have this platform, Americans actually moving to Chinese platforms so they can have a voice. And also they can know about things that were related to Gaza, because keep in mind that a lot of the news that was not shadow banned or banned in the West was related to Gaza. The Western media and all those social media platforms actually made sure that you would have less and less exposure to the Gaza genocide, because that's a genocide. So I would say that probably the US government will not allow over time to have American citizens to use that platform because it's dangerous. Then now you have Americans and Chinese that actually can get together and communicate through that, which, by the way, it's a good thing, because the tensions that happen between countries are just artificial. It's made by the strategy of tension, of clash of civilization, putting Chinese against foreigners. But while average Joe in China and average Joe in the US is probably the same, they're seeking the same thing. Now you have some interesting videos where you have actually are making lots of Americans very angry, because you see like foreigners or even Chinese shopping to a grocery store, and they have huge bags full of grocery, which, by the way, in the US is extremely expensive buying grocery fresh product. If it's not processed food, that's expensive. Now you have those big purchase into average grocery store in China, very cheap price. People can eat healthy food, and then they're sharing this into this platform, and you get Americans to see that. And now you had the reaction of Xiaohongshu realizing, well, let's have a system of translating Chinese to English, so Americans, they can watch Xiaohongshu translated into English. And I think this is a really good opportunity for two people to get to know each other, to share. But I think if this keep on expanding, Xiaohongshu for foreigners keep on expanding, I think that they will ban it. And my impression is that who's winning the war? It's the West. It's the West, and those are signs of a collapsing, declining societies. Because outside there are things that are happening that are tangible things, not ideologically driven, but you have some metrics that are very interesting that are happening outside of the US and outside of the collective West. Is just related to quality of life, disposable income, life expectancy. Life expectancy for last year in the US, the last 2 years, has been going down. What does it mean? It means that you children will live a shorter life than you. And that's a basic human right. But do you realize your children will have a shorter life than you? And why is it so? Well, because societal issues. People are isolated, suicide, taking drugs, alcohol. People are not eating healthy food because healthy food is expensive, so they're buying junk food, and they are in a survival mode. There's a stress level, many elements that actually make the society unhealthy, and life expectancy goes down. Plus, you have a corrupt system of the healthcare industry. The healthcare industry in the U.S. GDP is accounts for 18% of the U.S. GDP, and in China is 6%. Why is that the difference? Because in China is purpose-based versus profit-based. And a lot of things, actually, when you look at the Western societies, it's a lot is actually profit-based, because we are hitting the most ultra-capitalist system, where you have function of society that were always supposed to be purpose-based, that have become profit-based completely. Road was for purpose. Now you have to pay to private companies a road that the public did. Your tax money did. Electricity, all those basic function industries that should be public, are in the hands of private firms. And that means that if it's not making money, then we shut it down, and the purpose is completely lost. And you have industries like the defense industry that is not there to fight wars, but to make money. That means that you are going to produce things that you might not need, but it's making money. So I would say those two things. Today was just, I want to touch upon those two things, this corruption. And I would say, even if you're a Trump supporter, be critical. Be critical. What is happening right now, if you are not being critical of Trump making money on a quote-unquote shitcoin, well, you're into a cult. And I have the impression that this is where we are. They've polarized both society. And don't get me wrong, I don't care. I'm outside. I'm just trying to see from outside eyes. But you have two cults, the Democrats and the Republicans. And actually, if you look at the background of those people, they're all average Joe. They are the 99%. But they become completely blinded. So they will actually back Biden, who's responsible of the Gaza genocide, alongside with Netanyahu, just because they hate Trump. But they don't want to criticize Biden because he'll be seen as a pro-Trump. And me, the same. If I start criticizing Trump, they'll be like, oh, you are anti-Trump, you are pro-Biden. No, it's not like this. And people need to understand the nuance. And they need to understand also one thing, which is really important. It is not because you criticize something that you are anti something. The healthiest thing you can do, and that is the same with your family. Your family and your brother, let's say your brother is doing something wrong. If you do love your brother, well, tell him you're doing something wrong. So now the problem is that you have Trump. You had the hope, and I do understand you have wishful thinking. You had the hope of Trump being the change you were expecting. Not Trump. He hasn't even started. And that's what he does. He's making billions out of you. And this meme coin that required preparation, he's been on the background working on that intensively so he could make those billions of dollars. And that is only the beginning. And why do you think you have all those billionaires surrounding him? Well, because they want to have a part of the cake. And I think the direction it's taking is going to be the big looting. And every time it's a free pass. You see what happened with Biden. Biden is actually, all the corruption was going through Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden has had a pass for the last 10 years. He has a pardon for the last, whatever happened the last 10 years. See how corrupt is the system. But the pro-Biden, because it's a cult, they didn't criticize that. And both sides, because they are so much antagonizing each other, they've lost, the critical mind to say, well, my side is actually wrong too. And somehow what they need to do is really criticizing the system which has legalized corruption. What we see these days with the meme coin of Trump and Melania Trump, that's legalized corruption. And when you see this Doge project of deregulation and reforms of the government, deregulation will mean that they will be able to do more of those things. If you had regulation in the crypto market, you wouldn't be able to do that. Why people like this with so much influence can issue a shitcoin, which actually might just be a Ponzi scheme? Ponzi scheme is that you need to have newcomers with new, fresh money to keep the system working. And maybe if this works really well, they are going to increase actually the size of the coins. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. But so I think it's important for people not to fall into the trap. This is a class struggle. Always, 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 always. I would say if I would simplify my views when it comes to geopolitics and internal politics, there's two things. One is sovereignty. That's the foundation. You don't talk about anything else before this. Then ultimately it's a class struggle. The rest, it's just details. Doesn't put food on the table. It's just details. You want to have a rainbow flag. You want to have sex with a man. I mean, really, who cares? Those are dividing things. It's a class struggle, and you need to talk about sovereignty. Sovereignty meaning self-determination, no foreign interference. What happens in my home stays in my home, and I take care of my family first. And that's what actually the slogan of Make America Great Again. But that's a slogan. In reality, is this making America great again? You come into power and you steal billions of dollars? That shows clearly that you're into this for yourself. And it's a bad sign, and me as an outsider, I do wish that whatever he said was a good thing. And don't get me wrong, there are good things, probably good things, relatively to Biden. But the system is completely corrupt. So don't stay critical. I have many friends that are pro-Trump. They believe in Elon Musk and so on. But stay critical. They are billionaires. Ultimately, they'll work for themselves, not for you. And so basically, it's just a shift between I would say it's a struggle internal struggle between oligarchs. Because that's what they are. Let's start calling for them for what they are. They are billionaires that have influence into politics. That is called oligarch. And they write the laws. Those people write the laws. Do you think they are going to do laws that actually are going to do wealth transfer from the billionaires to average Joe? No. It is going to get worse for average Joe. because it's a system of the 1%, for the 1%, of the 1%. So I would say that's about it. If you want to share, subscribe, share my work. I hope you like it. Just any comments, please give me some comments. I'm still debating, trying to see how much you like the show, which directions you want me to take, and I'll try to invest more time into this. Anyway, thanks for your support, and bye for now.